Hello everyone, this is Naman Juman from Office365, and in this video tutorial I'm going to show you guys how to set up BitDefender GravityZone with Office 365. So in order to set up BitDefender GravityZone with Office 365, you must need to have a working domain with Office 365 already. Once you have that, you need GravityZone access, administrator access, as well as Exchange admin access. Then you can start right from there. So we have everything ready, so we're gonna just start from here. So here first we would be needed the domain DNS access, Exchange administrator access, and GravityZone email security access. So now once I logged in GravityZone email security section, now I'm going to click on products, then click on product configuration. Then here I have tested one domain before, Office365.xyz, but now I'm going to add another domain for video demonstration. So click plus the add icon, then you're going to copy your domain name. So the domain name is here. Now I'm going to go in DNS section, and here I'm going to copy the MX record of the domain name. I'm going to click add. It's going to take some time to save. Okay, it just saved. Now it says DKIM not verified. So we need to add DKIM record. So first we need to view the full DKIM public key. So I'm going to just check it. So we're going to copy paste that. So in order to save it on DNS, which we are using Cloudflare, we're going to add a DNS record. So text to record, and we're going to type it as USSEMS dot underscore domain key. So make sure you type properly, USSEMS dot underscore domain key. Then you're gonna copy the content of GravityZone. So I'm gonna copy, then save it in here, save. So once we saved, we're gonna click on verify, but we're gonna wait 30 seconds before clicking on verify. So let's click verify. So the DKIM has been successfully enabled. So that's a good sign. That means our DKIM is enabled. Now we're gonna click on inbound mail. We're gonna check if it's there. So okay, so this one is here. Now we need to replace our MX record of the domain name and point it to the BitDefender GravityZone MX record. So for this account, we are using European data center. So if you use US data center, the MX record will be different, and if you use European, that will also be different. So I'm gonna use European one. So first I need to remove this MX record, which is the Office 365 one. Now I'm gonna add new MX record. Let's give it a name MX, and the type name is MX. Main domain @MX server address. This is for EU1. Priority 010. Then I'm gonna do 3 more times. MX record @mail server 10, priority 20. MX record @mail server 30, priority. Then the final MX server @, the priority is 40. So now we added all the European data center based MX record for BitDefender GravityZone. So I repeat, if you use US one, the MX record is different. So you can get this MX record from their documentation site. So now our inbound mail is configured with Office 365, with GravityZone. We replace the Office 365 one. Then we need to set up the mail flow rules so that, let's just say, we've been using the Office 365 this DNS record before, but we just change it to right now to GravityZone 1. So some people probably try to bypass the protection of GravityZone protection. So we need to restrict them so that they must use GravityZone MX record. So to do this, we're gonna go Exchange, then we're gonna create mail, click on mail flow, then we're gonna create a rules. Here in rules, we need to create multiple rules actually. So that's the important information in here, that if you have multiple domain hosted in your Office 365, but you just like to configure only a couple of them, but not all of them, then you should not use the rules for the bypassing of MX record. So for this case, I'm not gonna use, because we have multiple domain in here. So we're not gonna use the bypass MX record. GravityZone bypass. But instead, we're gonna do just regular rules in here. So for regular rules, which is really important, is bypass any spam protection, which is in Office 65 they have by default EOP rules. So we don't like to examine the EOP rules once we have GravityZone. So that's why we need to make an exception that don't scan, let it scan by GravityZone. So we're gonna create a new rules, create a new rule, and then let it load. Okay, so in rule name, we're gonna give its name spam exclusion for GravityZone. We're gonna click more option. Then here, if the IP address, if the sender IP address in any range of this exact match, so then we're gonna add all the IP address of our MX record of the European data center. So I have copied all the IP address, so I'm gonna just add all of them one by one. So first, second, so there's the final IP address, and click OK. Now do followings. We're gonna click do followings, then modify e-message properties, set the spam confidence level SCL to bypass spam filtering, press OK. Then we're gonna click save. Once you have that, then we're gonna set up two more rules. We're gonna add bypass clutter evaluation, so that whenever it's gonna just scan the regular mail, and based on the activity, it's gonna always not gonna check this mail, because let's just say I talk with my friends through email most of the time, so it's gonna always keep that way, that okay, this guy is good. So now we're gonna create a new rule. Let's give its name clutter evaluation bypass. So I'm gonna copy in a note. Then here we're gonna apply this rule. Sorry, we don't need to apply actually. Let me see. I clicked on more. Then we're gonna set up apply those rule if sender IP address and domain. Actually, we can just probably update the previous rule. Actually, we instead of creating new one, so let's just update the previous one. In addition to the other previous rule, click on add action. Set we're gonna click on header. Actually, modify the message properties and set a message header. Then it says enter text. Okay, here in first, here enter text. First section, I'm going to type XMS exchange online dash by plus clutter, and the value should be true. Okay, now we're going to review one more time. Everything is there. Yes. So save it. Once this is saved, we're going to create other rules. Okay, it's saved. Now we're going to create a new rule. So let's give it a name, bypass focus inbox evaluation. Then click on more options. Then apply this rule if the sender the IP address or exactly matches. So we're gonna add the IP address of EU based data center. All IP address. Okay. Now, once the IP address is added, then do following section. We're gonna change the message properties. Then we're gonna set message header. Then we're gonna do the first section. We're gonna type XMS exchange organization bypass focused inbox. Then in the value, we're gonna add true. Second value actually. So this is almost like this first one. Now let's save it. Actually, we could have do this in here, but we don't like to add it with the previous configuration because we need to set this rule priority on top of everything. So we're gonna just once it's saved, we're gonna just take it to the top. Okay, so it's saved. Now we're gonna take it to the top one and the top. So it's gonna take some time. So now it's on top. So now also I'm gonna make this one is second place. So once we have that, we have pretty much our inbound mail configured with the GravityZone. So just to remind you again, if you like to enforce that all of your incoming mail must use the GravityZone MX record, you need to create another rule for your domain name. But I haven't added that rule because I have multiple domain running on this organization, so all of the domains is not configured. So the domain which is not configured with GravityZone is not gonna receive any mail because of that rule. That's why I haven't added that one. So now we're gonna set up the outbound rule. So let's go back to the GravityZone. Then we're gonna set up the outbound rule in here. So before making any outbound rule, I'm gonna do some changes in the SPF configuration of domain DNS. So here you can see we have protection. I mean, this is on Office 365 one. Now I'm gonna add one more SPF record in here. So I'm gonna add include colon scanscope.net, which is BitDefender SPF record. So this one is applicable for all of the data center like EU, US. So for today's tutorial. So then save it. So that means when you're gonna send any mail from BitDefender, it should work properly with the SPF. Now let's go back to the GravityZone. Here in outbound mail, we have to set up the SPF record. So we're gonna allow the SPF record, click on add. So here you need to add the SPF record for the Office 365 one. So in that case, based on the BitDefender GravityZone guide, which is spf://spf.production.outlook.com. So that's it. Click on update. If you have multiple SPF, you should add them in here. So once you have that, that means we configured the outbound rule in GravityZone, but we need to set up the outbound configuration in Office 365. So we need to go Exchange Admin. Then we're gonna click on connectors. So in connectors, before you set up the connector, you need to make sure that the domain you are adding is the default domain. Otherwise, it's not gonna work during the validation process. So here, if I click on the accepted domain, the domain I'm trying to add is the default domain. So that's why you must select it, must add the default domain first in BitDefender GravityZone, then you can add the other domain. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. So let's go back to the connectors. I'm gonna add a connector. So connection from Office 365, connection to partner organization. Next, then let's give it a name, BitDefender GravityZone outbound. So let's give it the name of the domain name. So copy paste the domain name. Let's give a description, domain, so that my other administrator can have some information regarding that. So make sure you click on turn it on, press next. So message, when you like to send message, just press star so that you like to send message to anywhere. Then click on plus icon. So now press next. Route mail through the smart host. So here you're gonna add the outbound IP address of outbound relay of EU based data center. So since I'm using EU based data center, so in case if you use US one, the records are almost same, but there's a US in here. I'm gonna click both of the records name in here, then press next. Security restriction issued by, yeah, that's the one, we don't need to change it. Press next. Validation email, you can just type any of the email name other than your organization. So you can just use any of the test domain. Let's just say my personal email address, probably, or probably just an email address. So let's just use support@office365.com. Then click on validate. So it's gonna take 30 seconds to probably a couple of minutes. Then it's gonna give a result. So as I mentioned you must add your primary or default domain name in BitDefender GravityZone in order to pass the validation. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. Okay, so validation is successful. Now click on next, then create connector. So we are almost done. We all need to add is now Active Directory and mailboxes in GravityZone. So the configuration is Office Exchange end is finished. We just need to go the GravityZone now. Now we need to do the Active Directory setup. So click on Active Directory. Then we need to copy our default domain name, which is in something like something like your domain name dot on Microsoft.com. So I'm gonna just add that domain. So click on add Azure Active Directory. You can just open your Azure Active Directory and you can find the tenant's name. So in your case, it says that your domain at onmicrosoft.com. So in our case, this is picocomputers.onmicrosoft.com. So the domain name is asking. So I'm going to just copy paste the domain name. This is for reference only. So it shouldn't be a big issue. And we like to sync all the users, all the groups. That's why I haven't checked any of them. So I like to sync everything. So once you click on add domain, it's gonna make sure your pop-up is enabled, otherwise it's not gonna work. So it's gonna let me sign in with my organization email address, and I must need to have administrator access in order to do that. So I have my account signed in. I'm gonna just click on sign, and it says permission requested review for organization. So I'm gonna click accept. So success, you can close these windows. So now I'm gonna click refresh, and it's gonna sync all the users in here. So just give it a couple of minutes. Depending on your organization size, it might take some time to show up in here. So it says count 0, so it's not yet synced. So it's gonna take some time. Once everything is synced, you're gonna click on mailbox, and you're able to see all the users and their mailbox in here. So I'm not gonna record the whole session for syncing. So because we have pretty much everything set up here. So the only thing left is to go the connection rules. Message rules. And you need to make sure that you have the DKIM setup is configured. So I'm gonna click on check yes, view system rules, yes. Then I'm gonna say DKIM. You can see the DKIM sign in is enabled. So once everything is set up and everything is synced, I'm gonna do a mail test. You can do a mail test, like you're gonna send a mail to your office email address and see if that came via the BitDefender GravityZone MX, or then you're gonna reply the mail and also gonna check if the mail is come through the BitDefender outbound rules. So I'm gonna just wait a couple of minutes because the propagation is gonna take some time. So in your case, it's gonna be probably less time, because if you have the small organization, that should work. So this is all about today's video tutorial. If you have any question, just let us know in here comment section. I will try our best to reply you. Thank you for watching this video tutorial.